Welcome to Families in Action on your hometown station, AM 1220 KHTS. I'm Cary Quashen, along with my co-host, Michael Dougherty, a.k.a. the Silver Fox around here. Hey, Silver Fox.
How you doing, Cary?
It's okay, Mike.
How was your weekend, anyway?
It was really good. Yeah. I had a very relaxing, nice weekend.
Good.
So it was good. How about you?
Same here.
Good. Anything special?
No, just hanging around, me and my wife.
We just hung out, too, and had fun and that kind of stuff. And before we go any further, Action is brought to you by your local hometown station, AM 1220 KHTS. I believe we were on the air now 13 years today or something like that.
Official date is the 10th.
The 10th. So
but today we can celebrate it, yeah.
Why? It's not 13 years yet.
Yeah, it would be.
On the 10th, right? What's today's date?
The 7th.
Oh, 3 days from now we'll be on the air 13 years. Isn't that something?
648 shows, I believe.
That's right. And you know what? We're going to do a lot of little stuff, and then we're going to get into our show. But before I even finish the introductions, that's Ann Front. Ann Front is a social worker, a licensed. Tell us what you do and what you are, and then we'll go on.
I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist, and I work at Henry Mayo, and I work with patients that are appropriate for palliative care, which we'll talk about in a little while, and just helping people plan ahead for their future and what their healthcare decisions are.
And you also run a support group, don't you?
Yes, I have a caregiver support group that is actually Wednesday. It's the second Wednesday of every month.
And that's free for the community.
It's free for the community. It's a great group, and people are really supportive of each other and gain different skills and information and a place to just relax and let go a little bit.
And then is that done right at Henry Mayo?
It's done at Henry Mayo. If you call the volunteer office, they can give you specific information, and it's in the Pavilion building if you're familiar with the campus.
We are. You know, I got to tell the world out there that Cary and I know Ann really well because once upon a time, Ann worked in the behavioral health unit with us.
And then she left us.
She left us for palliative care.
And I know, Mike, it's okay because I know you had abandonment issues. And I hope you're okay. Are you all right?
Yeah, I think I'm okay, especially she's on the show with us today.
If not, I can refer you to a local
So we'll have the
therapist.
videotape to refer to from time to time.
In case you're feeling
me.
sad.
What's that?
In case you're feeling sad.
That's right. And she's here, and she can, she's a therapist, so she can help us.
She can help. Exactly. So, you know what, Mike? What was I going to say? Before we go any further with this, I have to tell you something exciting. I've been doing a lot of television lately, and I'm on the Robert Irvine show quite a lot. When anything with drugs is usually me. And we did an intervention on this lady named Robin. She's from Wisconsin, and her kid actually brought her to California on the show so that we can do an intervention and help her. She's major drugs. She's been, let me forget it. She's done everything you promised yourself you would never do. And in the middle, during the intervention, she agreed to come to Action and come on. And you can all watch this. It'll be on. And at the end of the show, when we're ready to leave and take her to rehab, her daughter says, "No, don't go." And I was like, huh? She says, "I'll have too much anxiety getting on the plane without you. So you got to fly back with me and we'll just go to therapy weekly."
How old was her daughter?
In her 30s.
Oh.
So, I didn't know what to say. It's like, what can you say? She looked at me, and I felt so bad for her because I know she was screaming, "I'm going to rehab in California, and I'm going to get better." And you'll see this. Again, Robert Irvine show. Watch it. And she gets to wherever she's going, Wisconsin, and she's texting back and forth. She blew it. She wants to go to rehab. She actually took a train today, left 2 days ago. We just picked her up at the Central Station downtown, and she's in rehab today. Isn't that cool? I feel really good about that. I'm like, I know we can help this lady.
That's a good one.
Yeah, so I feel it's like really made my day.
And is her daughter getting therapy now?
I imagine her daughter's getting therapy now, but that's not my problem. I wish her luck.
Yeah.
But my problem is I'm Robin. That's I'm actually in rehab, so it's pretty exciting.
Motivation's a big deal because a lot of times families want to do it and the person doesn't. So when the person's motivated, you want to go with it.
Well, the family's the one who brought her on. Poor lady. She had $1 something. She couldn't have enough to get from Central to Santa Clarita So, I mean, I had to send somebody to pick her up. Her family stole her wallet 2 days before she left. I mean, it's just, it's that whole drug world and that street thing. And you could just tell she's like craving. She's just dying for something better in her life. So I felt really good. And I'd done a lot of shows on the Robert Irvine show, a lot of intervention shows anyways, and we have to twist arms, and I mean everyone went, but we had to really battle. This girl really wanted to go. It was a soft, easy intervention, and it was like yay, and then no. So I felt pretty good too.
But it has a happy ending.
Has a happy ending. Well, as of right now,
hopefully, hopefully she'll go through the whole thing.
Oh, I imagine
a happy beginning.
A happy beginning, a new beginning.
That's true.
So, and that just goes to show you that anybody can get help if they want it. And like during this show, in an hour, 5 people will die of a drug overdose. Period. Accidental drug overdose in this country.
Maybe even more.
Well, I'm pretty sure more. That's the latest numbers, and that goes back to 2014, and we're in almost 2017, and the drug epidemic is worse. So you can bank on more, but hey, we can save people one person at a time. I feel pretty good about that.
Yeah. I got 2 action items for you, Cary.
You're on.
And one of them is going to tie into just what you were saying just moments ago. Toxicology tests confirmed 2 13-year-old boys in the Utah ski resort town of Park City overdosed on a new synthetic drug that is available online and was also found at the estate of entertainer Prince after he died. So it's one of the things he was using. Right. Ryan Ainsworth and Grant Seaver died of acute intoxication of a drug called U-47700, sometimes known as pink.
Which you can buy.
Yes, it's among a new generation of opioid drugs being synthesized in labs overseas, and it's too new as a recreational drug to be listed as illegal. The drug got to Park City after other local teens ordered it from China, and they ordered it online. The exact effects of U-47700 are little understood, and a small amount could be fatal, especially if it's laced with another drug. The boys were found dead separately by their parents. Over a 2-day period of time. Investigators found conversations about U-47700 on their social media accounts. Wow. And the drug is nearly 8 times stronger than morphine, and it's been connected with at least 50 deaths nationwide as the U.S. struggles with the epidemic of opioid misuse.
I don't. What are you going to say?
That's so sad.
What do you say?
That's so sad.
That's all you say is that it's dangerous out there right now, and we think opiate epidemic and drug epidemic. We think prescription pills and heroin. It's not just prescription pills and heroin. It's all kinds of different drugs. We're losing kids now with over-the-counter drugs. I mean, Sudafed and Triple C, which is Coracetin. There's Spice and all that other kinds of drugs that we see in the ER all the time when kids come in there and they're like lost. They're in space somewhere. So, I mean, it's just we really need to pay attention to our children and what's going on. And by the way, social media for young kids, it's like, where did these 13-year-olds get it? On the internet. So we really need to be paying attention to what our young children are doing on that internet.
Yeah, and in this case, it was unfortunate, but they did not find out what was going on until after they were dead, and they found this on their social media.
And you can't blame anyone. It's just it's where we are in this time right now. I just did a special on Channel 4 News. It was on Friday. On the new marijuana headaches we're going to have when it gets legalized. Number one is, how is a police officer going to tell if somebody's high? Did they get high yesterday? Are they high today? And then it was planted on my Facebook, and people were saying, hey, no one's dying from smoking weed and driving. That's not true. Look at Colorado and the other states. Driving under the influence of marijuana, there are more fatalities now. And it doesn't say plus alcohol. It says marijuana is the only thing found in their systems because it affects their timing and their reactions.
You and I are in perfect sync today because the next action item, people who use alcohol and marijuana together may be at greater risk for alcohol-related problems such as drunken driving and poorer health than those who use only alcohol, according to a new study.
Some of the other reason is this new grade of marijuana is actually, if you look at the medical reason, it's for nausea and that kind of stuff, right? So if somebody drinks a lot of alcohol and they're smoking a lot of pot, they don't feel as nauseous. Meaning what? They can drink more alcohol, which can either become deadly on the road or they can have alcohol poisoning. So there's a lot of problems that come with it. So we really need, and I'm not even arguing if it should be legal or not. It's going to be legal. We all know that. What I'm arguing is you better pay attention to what's going on. As an adult, make your own decisions. You're an adult. Your brain's developed? Well, maybe. That's debatable with some of these potheads. But when it comes to an adolescent that starts smoking weed at 14, 15, 16, their brain's not developed to the mid-20s. What part of the brain's not developed, Ann?
It's a good point.
What part of the brain's not developed? Their frontal lobe, which is their what? Decision.
The decision-making, impulse control, and cognitive, logical.
And these are kids that has none of that anyway. So now we're putting this high-grade THC in that brain that's not developed. You think we're going to have problems?
And by the way, we know that actually goes all the way up into their mid-20s before their brain is fully developed.
And I got these kids. They're coming to my rehabs or my outpatients. And just marijuana, let me tell you, the problems that we're having with these poor children, they're losing their complete loss of motivation. They're dropping out of sports. Their schools' grades are starting to really suffer. They got no motivation, short-term memory loss, long-term memory loss. We got major issues when it comes to these children. Now we're going to make it more accessible and easy. And they're saying, well, you have to be 21. Who do you think's going to buy gummy bears laced with THC that they're selling in these shops? A 60-year-old? I don't think so. This is marketed for children. Lollipops, marketed for children. Candy, marketed for children. And what we're finding in our groups right now is kids that are getting caught with edibles. These are the edibles they're getting caught with. So we really, we're already having a crisis with our children. They're getting high earlier, but we better pay attention to what's going on. Also, what I was telling the news is they were saying that the sheriff is saying that there are more kids getting treatment or asking parents treatment for pot. I see it opposite. I see parents calling us, coming in, drug testing their kid, calling up saying, what's in their test? If we say 800 milligrams of pot, a year ago they would have panicked. Now they're saying, okay, thank you, and hang it up. They're not getting treatment because everyone's doing it and parents give up. So we really have some issues. And then at 20, 21, they're dead from a drug overdose because they keep experimenting more. So it's kind of really crazy what's going on right now when it comes to pot. That's my watch. It's talking to
his wrist was talking to it.
Isn't that weird?
Dick Tracy.
So yeah, we gotta pay attention to these kids when they're young because all drug abuse starts innocently. And right now, everyone's looking at pot as this innocent drug that doesn't hurt anyone. Good luck. Have fun with that.
Well, and on my side, I look at what I see 10 or 15 years, the health, even if you make it through these, critical years, the health, long-term health risks are huge. And then people are going through diseases you should be going through when you're 80 or 90, and you're shortening your life because you don't have that, the reserve in your body to cope with things. And
I know you work in a field, especially that relates to what we're saying, but I know many people in my career that have died young from all kinds of complications of heart disease, emphysema, cancer, liver, and all they did was smoke pot. So you could really see what happens when you're in our business. It's not good.
Cary, on today's show, this will make our listener feel warm and fuzzy. Comfort, love, and respect is what we're going to be talking about today. As we talk about, it's National Hospice and Palliative Care Month. Yearly,
that doesn't sound so loving, but Ann is going to explain why it is.
Yearly, more than 1.6 to 1.7 million people live with a life-limiting illness, receive care from hospice or palliative care providers in the U.S., of which Ann Front is one.
That's right.
It's cool that we have a month where we can talk about it.
It's not one
cool,
that receives care, one that gives care.
I give care, yes.
She gives care.
Yes.
I think some people think they know what hospice is all about. But what is that really, Ann?
Okay. Well, let's start with what palliative care is, because that's a newer term that's it's been around for a long time, but in the past 15, 20 years, we've increased emphasis on that. And within communities, people are more familiar with that in the last 5, 10 years. So palliative care is a broad service level for people at any stage of illness, from a new diagnosis through end of life. So that includes hospice, and we can talk more about palliative care. Hospice is when a person has made the decision that they no longer want to pursue curative treatment, or there's no other curative treatments available, and they really want to focus on quality of life, what's important to them. If they're in the dying process, they're given a 6-month prognosis or less to live. They're in the dying process. How do they want to carry out those last 6 months or so of their life? And for some people, that might be being in the hospital and getting full nursing support. For other people, it might mean being at home with their loved ones, looking out at the garden, being able to do things at home that make them comfortable, and really going beyond looking at medicine is something that we will pursue till the absolute end, in terms of going to the ICU, going on, breathing machines or whatever, despite no quality of life or good outcomes, versus taking a different approach to healthcare where we're focusing on symptom management and comfort. So people tend to be referred to hospice within the last 6 months of their life. Sometimes we don't have a crystal ball. And a lot of times when a person goes home on hospice and is more comfortable there, right, there's less anxiety, there's less risk of infection that you might get in the hospital. They actually do better, and they might, live longer, like for a year or even longer than that, and they can always sign off of hospice. But it's a goal to really give an intense amount of support so that a person maintains quality and comfort.
That's a good point, though. I actually have known about people that have been on hospice care for well over a year. So it's not like, I'm on the last week of my life, I need hospice.
Well, things change. I mean, we know that people are diagnosed with cancer and given 6 months and live 5 years.
Yeah.
So things change dramatically. They have things that help life do better, and also people do better for some reason when they feel less anxiety and more comfortable, like you said.
And also a lot of the treatments that we do, and treatments are important, and if there is a good outcome or a high likelihood that people are going to get better, we want to pursue aggressive treatment. But at some stage of your illness, doing things like, say dialysis or chemotherapy or things like that, if the symptoms from the treatment outweigh the benefits of, cure or those kind of things, then we want to look at, sometimes our patients, like with cancer, when they're close to the end and the treatments are so aggressive, the symptoms cause the problem and cause their death, versus taking a natural course. And
all that medication, I mean, you can have heart attacks. And that's how my mother went. I mean, they were very aggressive with the chemo and stuff, and bang, 3 heart attacks in a couple of days. I mean, the chemo actually killed her. So,
and for some people, if they want to pursue everything, I have people with younger kids and things that say, I want to do every single thing to live as long as I can for my children and be part no matter what, or that's my cultural preference to try everything, then that's fine. But it's important that people are informed on their healthcare choices so that they can make independent decisions, because what's right for me might not be right for you.
And that's one of the things that you do, is you're able to sit down with the patient and the family and say, okay, here we are, and what is it you're looking at? What do you need? And so they can go from zero, meaning they might not know anything about it, to, these are my options.
Right.
So what works best for you?
So palliative care actually can take them out of hospice or instead of hospice and say, instead of making you comfortable and getting ready to die, we're going to try treatment. Or some kind of treatment.
Yeah, like I said, the palliative care is the full spectrum, where I would rather get involved with the person that has a new diagnosis and is just starting out in their illness, process,
Right.
so we can get to know who they are, what's important to them. I have, a gentleman that says, I like to hike and I like to go traveling. And if I get to the point where I'm confined to my house, I don't want to pursue aggressive treatment. I just want to be comfortable. But somebody else might, have a different story. So the more we get to know the person and clarify what is important to them while they have a voice to speak, and planning ahead for the future is much better than, the patient winding up on the ICU and I'm trying to figure out with the family what
to do.
What he wants, because the family has never asked and the healthcare providers haven't asked.
How important is it with respect to what you do there and palliative care? Is one of the things you talk about, if they don't already have one, is the advance directive?
Very important. And I recommend anybody over 18 and even, your kids that you see in the rehabs and things, people need to talk about their end of life choices. And maybe you have a decision at a beginning of treatment that I want this way, but if your condition gets worse or if your condition changes, how much treatment?
Right.
We kind of break it up where we look at full treatment, selective treatment, and comfort-focused treatment. And through the progression of an illness, your needs change, the choices available to you change. So most of the time, a new diagnosis, people want full treatment. And so we want to look at what time would we change to selective, or what time would we say, we've talked about this for a couple of years. Now we're in a place where the goals of care have shifted. How can we make you comfortable so you're not, creating more risk for yourself?
Because there's all kinds of things involved, like, if you want music in your room, all kinds of things, massages, whatever.
Exactly. We had one patient that was in the dying process, and she said, I want a blue casket to match my eyes, and I want to be playing this, and I want to, have my work friends around me. And that was amazing for the family because they didn't have to make any decisions. They knew exactly what she wanted.
That's absolutely amazing, but it's a thought that most people don't want to think about. So that's why when we come back from our break, we will get into that. This is Families in Action on KHTS AM 1220.